Facebook has a big concern about the way that coronavirus is being treated on the platform, and ads claiming that they have a cure for the coronavirus, which we know for a fact is not the case. So what's been happening?
Yeah, so one of the things that we've made sure, we want our platform to be a place where people can come and find the information that's relevant and timely to them. So when it comes to coronavirus, we're actually working very closely with the World Health Organization, and we're working here in the UK with government, with the health department, to make sure that the messaging that's going out on our platforms is true and is accurate. So if people want to search for information about coronavirus, we actually have put at the top of people's news feeds that they can actually go in and link straight to the government information. What we did just yesterday was to make an announcement to say we don't want any spurious ads on there that are claiming, as you say, that there's a cure, or things like there's no masks left, come and buy your masks, or something like this.
Or offering pet face masks which 100% guarantee to stop the illness spreading.
Correct.
So these adverts have been appearing on Facebook.
Well, we've taken them down, so they now don't exist. We've made a policy, we've made a change in our policy to make sure that that isn't going to be on there anymore, because we don't want this stuff on our platform. Our people don't want that. No. The users don't want it on either.
Do you understand why people get a little bit frustrated? Because none of those things that are being advertised can do what they're saying they're going to be doing. And people will be saying, well, if it was advertising on television or it was advertising on radio, they wouldn't be allowed to put those adverts on there in the first place. Why aren't Facebook doing more to stop these adverts getting on there in the first place? Why are they having to ban them, take them down and then change the rules?
So what we have is, as you know, there are no international rules about what goes on the internet. And one of the things as a company that we've been calling for actually is greater regulation. So if you like, that there is a standardisation across all of the online platforms as to what the expectations are.
Just so that the viewers know, this is an ad that appeared which falsely claims that I had an amazing weight loss journey with keto diet pills. I mean, I didn't. I've never used a keto diet pill. I don't really know what's in them. There is an issue, isn't there? If without the regulation, as Ben says, that television advertising has, that these adverts can, you know, never mind the coronavirus adverts, which are very concerning at the moment, but there are these other adverts that appear from time to time, give people an impression about somebody or about a product, which simply isn't true.
So in terms of that advert, that's not allowed on our platform. That advert has to come down. It goes against our policies. It's a violation. It comes down and we take it down. Now, we've got, through the investments that we make, and we spend billions and billions of pounds making sure that we're investing in the technology and also in people. We now have 35,000 people around the world that are working to make sure that the things that you're seeing every day, or even the advertising that is out there, actually is good and true. And that's really important to us. But we're in a world where actually we can make these new policies, we can put these new investments in, but there are bad actors out there. There are bad people that do things. So as they do different things, we have to change our policies, and we do that then we can take it down.
How many registered users of Facebook are there now?
So across our family of apps and services around the world, there's 2.9 billion people.
2.9 billion. And so you wonder, don't you, that how many people see that ad, which was fake, or the ads for cures for coronavirus or things that can stop you getting it, before you're able to take it down? There will be millions and millions of people. So the damage is done before you're able to take it down.
So actually we're getting really good at getting fake information, bad ads off the platform, often actually before anybody even sees them. So one of the things that we do, we want to be open, we want to be transparent about this. So and also issues as well. So when it comes to things like terrorism or maybe child exploitation or even hate speech, we're now reporting quarterly on what we're actually taking down and how we're using machinery to actually, and kind of artificial intelligence, to get it down before people see it.
I suppose the issue would be, why don't you filter the stuff before it goes on the site? I mean, this is about Facebook's status, isn't it? That you don't consider yourself a publisher, you're a platform. If you're a publisher, it would be checked before being put up, but because you're a platform, people can put the stuff up. And sometimes, you know, as you suggest, I mean, very distressing. Back in March 2019, the Christchurch terror attack, which of course is, you know, streamed live. You know, I mean, that sort of material has to then be removed rather than someone saying, you know, intervening immediately beforehand.
So I think you're asking a really important question. And if you look at the lessons that we have today, or how things are. You asked, are we a publisher? So it's really clear. We're looking at the newspapers on your desk. Newspapers decide what goes in their newspaper, and therefore they are liable for what goes in there. Think about the phone companies. The phone companies are not liable for the conversations that go on the, if you and I are phoning each other, they're not liable for the conversation. I actually think the internet's somewhere in between the two. And what you're asking is a conversation about what sort of internet do we actually want today. That's why we're calling for more regulation, because we don't think that this is something that a private company like Facebook should be deciding. We do think it's something that the regulators and the governments, not just in this country, but around the world, should be thinking through.
But it's Facebook's reputation, though, isn't it, Nicola, that actually Facebook's reputation is absolutely paramount to all of you. Of course it is. So if you can control that before it goes onto the platform, people won't be talking about the fact that Facebook have fake ads. People won't be talking about the fact that political manipulation happens through Facebook ads in various elections. That won't happen because you'd have stopped it happening in the first place.
And that's why we've taken the changes that we've done in order to make sure that we're investing the money, because there's nothing more important to us than the safety of people that are coming on our platforms. We're talking doom and gloom here, but just think about every day when people go onto our platforms. Majority of people are just having wondrous experiences on our platforms. They're connecting with their family and friends. They're connecting with the causes that they care about. They're raising money for fundraisers around the world. That's the thing that these platforms really are about, and it's our duty and our responsibility as a company to make sure that we get the bad stuff off. And I'm pleased and I'm proud of the progress that we are making. But also, we are not satisfied, and we know that there's still more we need to do.
I think you're right. I think in lots of ways, we can't imagine a world now without Facebook or without social media, and it obviously has enormous benefits. For you personally, actually, you are living with follicular lymphoma. You've been open about that. We've talked about that on the programme before. And in fact, the last time you were here, you talked about one of the campaigns. It was a social media campaign, wasn't it, to raise awareness of follicular lymphoma, and had celebrities taking part, putting a filter on. How did that go? What's the impact of that, the positive impact?
Well, it's been extraordinary. And again, just a handful of years ago, such a campaign wouldn't have been possible.
Yeah.
It starts with our community. We have 6,000 people now that are in the Living with Follicular Lymphoma group. Those people could never have connected before. And through the campaign, we actually were able to reach over 200 million people around the world. 200 million people from a campaign launched in London that went global. It raised, in that first just handful of weeks, over $250,000 just from people doing birthday, fundraisers, just getting out there. But more than that, it's been able to bring more people into the group that didn't know that there were other people living with this, and now they're connected. So, I mean, I'm one of the people that sees the unbelievable benefit of living, of being able to connect through social media, through the platforms like Facebook, like Instagram.
And how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I'm finished my chemo. I'm working through my maintenance treatment, and I should be done by the end of the year. And
you are a role model for women in business. You have this book, Lessons from Life in Business. Do you think that women fare worse in the workplace? Do you think that they're put off trying to get to higher levels in business? Or do you think there are issues that women deal with, perhaps caring responsibilities, children, that make it tougher for them? Well, it doesn't almost matter what I think. The evidence is really clear that there still are not enough senior women in business. We're doing better. So there are more women in the corporate boardrooms around the world. But actually, one of the things that we really were inspired by last year was by Alison Rose's The Rose Review, where she talked about, and the research showed that if women were actually able to set up businesses at the same rate as men were doing, then actually it would unlock £250 billion to the UK economy. So we were inspired by that. And we thought, well, that's an important thing. What is it that's stopping women? And what did you discover? Well, it's very simple. Two things. One, relatable role models. They don't know where they are. They can't find them. And then secondly, where's the community that I can go out and actually do something about it? And that's why I'm going to plug the book. I have to plug the book, and you've all got one. Hold it up. I'm holding it up. This is the book. We are launching this today. It's called Make It Work.